Type A blood and type B blood have existed for over 20 million years, longer than our species, longer than our genus, back to our primate ancestors before we were even human. AB blood is 1200 years old. The question is not what changed biologically. The question is what finally happened historically that made it possible. And the answer is empire. Every person alive today with AB blood is carrying the genetic evidence of a collision. Two populations separated by tens of thousands of miles for 50,000 years, finally meeting. This is the story of how that collision happened, which empires made it possible, and what it means that their meeting is still visible in the blood of 400 million people today. That gap, 20 million years on one side, 1200 on the other, completely reorients what you think you know when you learn your blood type. This is not a medical story. It is a historical one, and the history is written in every red blood cell of every AB person alive today. I want to start with the man who almost missed it entirely, because the way he found this system is, I think, stranger than the system itself. Karl Landsteiner was not looking for blood types. He was trying to explain why patients kept dying from transfusions that should have worked. In 1900, working in Vienna, he took blood samples from himself and 5 colleagues, separated the red cells from the plasma, and mixed them in every combination on a lab bench. Some combinations stayed fluid, others clotted into dense, visible masses. He identified 3 groups, A, B, and C, which he later renamed O. A year later, his students Adriano Sturli and Alfred von de Castello found a 4th sample that reacted to nothing. They called it no particular type because it broke every pattern Landsteiner had just established. That sample was AB. Landsteiner won the Nobel Prize in 1930, 30 years after the discovery. He died in 1943, still in his laboratory, still working, never fully understanding why blood types had evolved in the first place. The most important thing Landsteiner found was the one his students almost didn't name. No particular type is now the rarest blood type on Earth. And the man who discovered the system that has since saved hundreds of millions of lives never knew what the system was for. I think that is not a tragedy. I think it is a clue. And the clue starts here. Blood types are identity flags on the surface of your red blood cells. Type A blood carries A flags. Type B blood carries B flags. Type O carries no flags at all. Type AB carries both. Your immune system is trained to attack anything displaying the wrong flag, which is why transfusing the wrong blood type can kill you. A B learned tolerance because it had to carry 2 identities simultaneously. Here is what I could not get past. The reason AB exists has nothing to do with biology. It has everything to do with timing. For 50,000 years after humans left Africa, the 2 halves of the blood world never properly met. Type A blood was concentrated in Western Europe and parts of Central Asia. Type B blood was concentrated in East Asia, South Asia, and parts of Central Africa. The barrier between them was a Eurasian steppe, thousands of miles of grassland with no reliable infrastructure, no shared political authority, no mechanism to move populations at scale. Small groups crossed occasionally, not enough to leave a genetic signature, not enough to produce AB in numbers that would survive and propagate. The A world and the B world were separated by distance, by climate, by the absence of any system capable of organizing movement at the scale that genetics requires. Individuals move. Populations need infrastructure. What was needed was not just movement. It was organized, sustained, empire-scale movement of populations across the exact corridor that separated the A world from the B world. And between roughly 600 and 1300 CE, 3 empires provided it, one after another. The Tang dynasty at its peak connected China to Central Asia through the most sophisticated trade network the ancient world had seen. Merchants, soldiers, diplomats, and slaves moved along Silk Road corridors for 3 centuries, carrying not just goods, but genes. Central Asia, the geographic midpoint between the A world and the B world, became the first major mixing zone. A B blood almost certainly began appearing here, quietly, in the children of traders who crossed cultural lines. But the Tang collapse limited how far west this mixing spread. The corridor was opened, it was not yet populated. The Abbasid Caliphate filled it. Stretching from Spain to the borders of India, it created something unprecedented. A single religious and commercial framework larger than Rome at its peak. Arab traders moved across the territory connecting West African, East African, South Asian, Central Asian, and European populations through the same commercial corridors for the first time. B blood moving west. A blood moving east. The probability of AB appearing and surviving increased with every generation of trade city children born at the crossroads. The Mongol Empire completed it. At its peak, it was the largest contiguous land empire in human history, stretching from Korea to Poland. For the first time, a single political authority controlled the entire Eurasian landmass. The Pax Mongolica created safe passage for travelers, traders, and populations from one end of the continent to the other. Marco Polo's journey was possible because of Mongol infrastructure. And with that infrastructure came the most dramatic East-West population mixing in pre-modern history. East Asian B blood reaching deep into Eastern Europe, Western A blood reaching Central and East Asia. The genetic collision that had been building for 6 centuries finally scaled to a level where AB blood spread widely enough to survive in modern populations. 600 years, 3 empires, 1 blood type. The theory only holds if the distribution of AB blood today looks exactly like a map of where those empires ran. AB blood is highest today in Japan and South Korea, where it reaches roughly 10% of the population, more than double the global average. It is elevated across Central Asia, along historical Silk Road routes, and through populations that had documented contact with Eurasian trade networks. And here's the control group that makes the argument rigorous rather than merely suggestive. Pre-contact Native American populations had essentially no AB blood. Indigenous Australian populations have extremely low frequencies. These are the populations that the Mongol roads never reached, that the Silk Road never touched, that the Abbasid trade network never entered. The absence is as precise as the presence. The map of AB blood is the map of where the ancient world connected. That is the science. What one country did with it next, I genuinely did not see coming. Japan specifically deserves its own moment here, because Japan did not just inherit AB blood from the Silk Road. It built an entire cultural mythology around it. In 1927, a Japanese professor named Tokeji Furukawa published a paper claiming blood type predicted personality. Scientists dismissed it immediately. The Japanese military revived it in the 1930s as a tool for assembling ideal soldier units, sorting recruits by blood type the way other armies sorted them by height or fitness scores. The practice was discredited after the war. Then in the 1970s, it was resurrected as pop psychology, spawned a publishing industry worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and became so embedded in Japanese and Korean culture that job applications, dating profiles, and television segments routinely feature blood type as a personality variable. AB people in Japan are stereotyped as rational, creative, and fundamentally unknowable, the type nobody fully understands. That stereotype, built on pop psychology with no scientific basis, is unknowingly describing the genetic legacy of Eurasian empire migration, a billion-dollar personality industry built on the unconscious memory of trade routes. The mythology around AB blood in East Asia is, in a roundabout way, a mythology about the Silk Road. That detail is genuinely hard to move past. Everything I have told you so far is history. What AB blood is doing inside living bodies right now is a different kind of story, and not a comfortable one. Because AB carries both A and B antigens, an AB immune system is uniquely tolerant. It recognizes both flags and attacks neither. This makes AB people universal red blood cell recipients. They can receive from any blood type without rejection. But the more medically significant fact runs the other direction. AB plasma, the liquid component of blood, which carries no antibodies against A or B blood, is universal plasma. It can be transfused into any patient in any emergency, regardless of their blood type. Hospitals maintain AB plasma as one of their most strategically critical resources, particularly for trauma cases where there is no time to type the patient. If you have AB blood, your plasma can save anyone's life, regardless of who they are. The blood type that can save anyone carries a cost that only the person carrying it pays. A 2014 study published in Neurology from the University of Vermont followed more than 30,000 Americans aged 45 and above for an average of 3.4 years. The finding was specific. People with AB blood had an 82% higher risk of cognitive impairment compared to those with type O blood, the highest risk of any blood type studied. The mechanism involves a clotting protein called factor VIII. A B blood carries it at significantly higher average levels, 142 IU per deciliter compared to 104 in type O. Elevated factor VIII is linked to cardiovascular disease, stroke, and impaired blood flow to the brain. The immune tolerance that makes AB plasma universally donatable comes with a clotting profile that makes AB blood harder on arteries and eventually on cognition. Universal donor, elevated dementia risk, the same molecular property producing both outcomes simultaneously. The tolerance that lets AB plasma save anyone's life is the same tolerance that comes with the clotting profile. You cannot separate them. That asymmetry, one person's cost, everyone else's benefit, stopped me when I first understood it clearly. The mixing events that produced AB blood happened in the most densely populated, disease-rich, pathogen-diverse environments in the pre-modern world. Silk Road trading cities, Mongol-era crossroads, Abbasid commercial hubs. In those environments, immune tolerance was not a liability. It was a possible survival advantage. An immune system that did not overreact to foreign antigens may have fared better in cities teeming with people from every corner of Eurasia, carrying pathogens from every climate the continent contained. A B blood may not just be the product of empire. It may have spread partly because the conditions those empires created made AB biology genuinely useful to have. This is a different kind of claim than the one the video opened with. The opening argument was historical. 3 empires created the conditions for 2 populations to finally meet. This argument is evolutionary. The immune profile that meeting produced may have been reinforced by natural selection in the exact environments those empires built. The cities and trade routes didn't just mix the populations. They may have selected for the blood type the mixing created. This is the point in the research where the whole argument turns on itself. We began with AB blood as an accident of history. 2 populations finally meeting after 50,000 years of separation. The data suggests it may be more than an accident. It may be adaptation. The youngest blood type may also be the one most shaped by the human environment rather than the natural one. The blood type that empires enabled may have been selected for by the very world empires built. 1200 years old, still spreading. And the world that created it is moving faster than the Mongol Empire ever did. A B blood is 4% of the global population today. It is the rarest major blood type, despite being produced by the collision of the 2 most common. That rarity persists because inheriting both A and B alleles simultaneously still requires both parents to carry the relevant genes, and 12 centuries is not long enough for the populations that carry those genes to fully mix. The collision is still in progress. A B blood is still spreading. And the world that enabled its spread, empire, trade, mass movement of populations, has not slowed down. If anything, it has accelerated. 1200 years from now, if the mixing continues at the pace globalization is setting, the distribution of AB blood will look different. It will have spread further than the Silk Road ever reached. The story that started with 3 empires will have continued through every border crossing, every migration, every city where populations that had been separate finally met. That story is still being written, but it will be written in the same place all of this began, in the blood of people who crossed borders that were never meant to be crossed. If you have AB blood, or if someone in your life does, send them this. They are carrying the genetic record of 3 empires and 50,000 years of separation in every red blood cell. They should probably know that. Subscribe. Every video on this channel is a story the official record either missed or didn't think to tell. This one won't be the last. Thanks for watching.